Hello everybody, welcome to Porowhita Zoo's latest enclosure, the aptly named, imaginatively named Koala Islands. It's a walkthrough exhibit that runs across two islands and into the actual koala house, which is their indoor shelter. I'm going to give you a quick walk around of this exhibit. Before we do though, I'll give you a bit of an overview. So this is our Koala Islands exhibit, which we're going to be taking a walk through. We've got the house in the top right hand corner there. You'll see also on the left hand side we've got these islands that are uninhabited, undecorated, no planting or anything so far. They're also going to be part of other exhibits. I've actually got two exhibits planned for over there. One is going to take up these two islands, and then the other one is going to be those three islands, including that sunken sandbank type island there. So to give you a run through of how this is going to be when everything's finished, this is the entrance to Koala Islands, and it's going to be indoors, this entrance. It's going to be part of what will be our kangaroo enclosure, which is going to be over here. It's the outdoor area of the kangaroos going to back on to this water's edge here, and also right up to Koala Islands, the edge of Koala Islands. But for now, this is what we've got. So imagine this is inside, and the kangaroos are over there bouncing around, and we'll head on through the gates. So you come through the gates, and the first thing that you are shown, the first thing that you have to do is traverse this rope bridge. Now, as you'll notice, I've planted up both sides of this rope bridge so that you can't actually see down into the water or past it, and that's because I wanted, as you emerge off this bridge, I wanted things to open up and open out so that you felt like you were sort of coming into an unknown area, that there's a bit of adventure to actually coming into it. At the same time, I want you to keep on the path, which is why I've made the sign. So stay on the path. So first thing that we're greeted with is this path that curves around to the right, and just on time, look, we've got a koala making its way over to us over the bridge. Now the koala's, where's he gone? He's literally just disappeared. He's ghosting us. No idea what happened there. Interesting. We've got plenty of space for the koalas. It's actually something like 4 or 5 times the space that they need, and we've also planted it up with the Australian trees. So we've got plenty of eucalyptus and the ghost. I think are they called ghost woods? I think they look amazing. They're like a really aggressive silver birch, for anyone that knows their trees. Oh, there he is. Look, he's up on top of the ropes for this rope bridge. So yeah, we've got the two bridges connecting, and then we've got a bit of rock work using the red desert rocks and the trees. All of the planting is appropriate for the koalas. So this is a slightly different approach to the bridge then. We've got a short path coming from here around to the next bridge, and then this bridge is closed off on one side because when everything's in place, I want you to be drawn over here to look this direction. The reason being, this enclosure, so I mentioned the enclosure that was going to be built with the sandbank that is underwater, and that is going to be some kind of reptilian enclosure. I haven't decided which one. We've got the saltwater crocodiles, we've got the gharials, and you're going to be hopefully walking across this bridge, and instead of sort of being your eyes being drawn this way to look at kangaroos, I wanted you to be drawn this way to see potentially crocodiles right at that barrier, which needs a little bit of work, it seems, doesn't it? It's all cracked along there. But yeah, I wanted you to be looking out this way and maybe see sort of right up against the barrier here, this sort of area. I wanted you to have the opportunity, and probably the first opportunity that you would get walking around the zoo, to see your crocodiles or gharials, depending on what we choose to have. So coming back off this bridge, and we close off that view again here with a bit of reeds, and then we've got this, which is the much larger area, the outdoor area for the koalas, and I think the most interesting part of the enclosure as well, because we've got these very, very large eucalyptus, which the koalas, actually there's one, look, that the koalas actually do climb up. So imagine you are in here and you're in the zoo. This is going to be imagine you are a visitor to the zoo, is what I mean. and you come off this rope bridge and you've just seen some gharials or crocodiles or something like that, and then this is going to be your best opportunity to see up close and personal the koalas and behaving the way that they will behave normally, so climbing up trees like that. You've also got the entrance and exits for the koala house, so you've got 3 options directly in front of you, and actually we've got 2 koalas set up on that one and 1 koala in the middle of that one over there as well, so that's nice to see. I've used, and again, this is one of the things that this new zoo affords me, I've used these big trees here. So the eucalyptus, if I was building as I'd been building previously with Chester Zoo, the eucalyptuses, or the eucalypti, are they an octopus? I don't know. The eucalyptus, they are too big really for real world planting, at least in Chester. They just would have stuck out like a sore thumb, and I'm really looking forward to using more and more of the larger versions of certain species of tree. My ambition is to do a baobab range, you know, like a savanna with a baobab or 2 or 3, you know, never say never. So following the path around, we've got again very spare planting and a little bit of rock work. These grasses, I really like these grasses that have come in with the Australia pack. They certainly suit this spare planting style, and I think it's probably quite an appropriate style. I did wonder about putting in more bushes, because koalas don't necessarily live in the arid areas of Australia. They tend to live, as far as I've been able to figure out, they tend to live in the wetter areas, the places that have a little bit more rainfall. Where's he going? Looks like he might be, oh no, he's going to have some food. Okay. They tend to live places that have a little bit more rainfall, but in keeping with what our zoo is in the middle of quite a dry area, so we've worked with what we've got, and instead of putting in that bushy planting that I was thinking of doing, I've gone for a slightly sparer planting style. So the idea is that you follow round to, he's coming down the tree, brilliant. You follow it round and you come to this bridge, and the bridge actually leads inside to the koala house. So you've got you've got a fairly up close and personal view both outside and also inside. The inside though does have a glass panel in between you and the koalas. At the same time, we've got this decoration. So let me just change the weather so that we can see this decoration a little bit better. So we've got this decoration, which I've handmade, and the will be up on the workshop. I'll put the trees on the workshop and I'll put the koala faces on the workshop. This is a little bit of theming to tie it into the outdoor area, and also to make sure that it's not just a fairly standard box building. Make it something actually that people might want. So we've got these trees over here which arch over the entrance to the koala house. That started off though as these trees, or this version of the tree, and the idea for all of them, actually, they're the same trees, and the idea was that they're sort of a stylized version of a eucalyptus. So the bark, if you look closely, the bark on the outside is like a grey brown, and then on the inside it's more of a reddy brown, and that's because if you come over to the eucalyptus as they are, that's sort of how they are here. So you've got like the grey browns and the reddy browns. I think this is an even better version of that. So grey browns and reddy browns of the bark, and then you have the green foliage, and so I just transposed those to different sections of the building, and then used 2 of them over here to create an arch, and a little bit of extra foliage was used in here to create the arch over the top. So for each of the koala faces, we've got different koalas for a start. They all use the new Australia pack pieces, so this is a very Australia pack heavy build. Actually, you will need, if you're going to download it, you will need the Australia pack installed. The idea behind these 3 faces was that they're actually representations of 3 of the characters, say, from our koala pack for I don't know what you call a group of koalas. If anyone knows, let me know down in the comments. That would be great. So each one has got hopefully their own character, and you can tell each of them apart. And the idea, as I say, is that they relate to a specific individual in the koala habitat, possibly him. This one is maybe the most sort of individual of the three, in so much as he's got blue eyes. Now, blue eyes is a very, very uncommon, rare occurrence in koalas. Like, usually they have brown eyes. For the most part, like 99.9% of koalas, as far as I know, have brown eyes like these two. So having a blue-eyed koala is definitely something that a zoo would make something of. They would definitely pop him on a wall somewhere and say, "Oh, we've got a blue-eyed koala," for sure. They definitely would. So this is the end of the walkthrough exhibit, and it brings us into here. Hopefully those mechanics have made sure that our glass is in good nick. They have, fantastic. So a little bit of rubbish food there. I don't know whose job it is to clean that up. He should have been cleaning it up before he put that stuff down, shouldn't he, really? So this is our indoor area, and the glass is a little bit foggy, as you probably expect these days from Planet Zoo. Their glass could be a little bit cleaner throughout the whole game. So the idea here, this is actually a koala house that is it's built along the same lines as Vienna Zoo's koala house. That is the only place I've actually seen koalas in a zoo. And their koala house is actually a lot smaller, but they have this range of woodwork that the koalas can sit on, and then they will actually, rather than floor feeding like this, they'll pop the food, they'll pop actual eucalyptus branches, say in a nook like on there, so it will be hanging off the edge, and the koalas will sit in the little nooks in between all of the wood, and they will eat their eucalyptus trees up off the floor. Or eucalyptus leaves even, not trees, although they are trees, aren't they? So that is the way that they would normally feed in a captive setting, as far as I've seen anyway, as far as Vienna Zoo do it. They have it set up as this long galley or gallery sort of setting, so that you can actually see the koalas, and lots of people can see the koalas all at the same time, because the view is unobstructed along a wide length of the koalas' indoor area. This building is also a fairly multi-use building. So we've got the actual shelter on the inside, and then at the end here, if we go over to the end, we've got a zookeeper's hut, and then if we come outside, and so the entrance, actually I should say is over here. So the entrance for the enclosure and the zookeeper's hut is right next to each other. That's important because, as you saw, some of the food had gone off, and because this is such a large space to oversee, I've actually got two zookeepers that are dedicated to this, and that's actually, again, somewhat similar to how you'd see things in a real zoo, because you'd have zookeepers that oversee certain single species oftentimes. So that's why that is the way it is. It means that they can get to the enclosure with the food for the animals quickly. We've also got here I forget that one's an empty box. We've got our trading centre there, and we've also got a staff room. So if you do download this enclosure, and this building does come with it, assuming that everything works the way I want it to work, you'll actually be getting 3 staff buildings inside this building as well. So this is the frontage. I did sort of come past it as we were talking there. The idea behind this is that a lot of light can enter the building. So we've got 3 very large windows on the front, and then we've got the smaller windows that people can see out of on this side as well. I'm wondering about what I'm going to do with this area in the front. I think certainly where those staff paths are there and on the other side, I'm going to plant those up so that the staff paths are slightly hidden. The front here, though, I'm wondering about possibly putting in some exhibit animals, or maybe even a smaller enclosure for something smaller, if I can make it work. So I'm thinking like pangolins or something like that in that rectangle in front of those 4 windows, and then that becomes a dual purpose walkway on the inside of that building, because you can see on one side you can see the koalas, and on the other side you can see the pangolins. So yeah, that is what we're thinking for the front at the moment, and that actually is our koala enclosure, the Koala Islands. To give you a bit of perspective on where it is in the zoo, if you look out that way, we've got our river running through the centre of the zoo, and then in the very far distance, that is actually Sunlit Savannah, the lion enclosure, which also makes up our entrance. Now, this is probably the best view that you've seen of this area and this area as well. These are 2 of our large circular enclosures that we're going to do something with in the future, and I'm not going to I'm umming and ahhing about whether I should tell you what they're going to be, but I'm not going to tell you what they're going to be just yet. That is the placement of them though, and they are dictating where things go around our build. So the idea, the ambition, is that this whole area, all of this plot, is going to be filled, and we've got lots and lots of plans for how to do that, and lots of space. So we're going to get plenty of animals in here, plenty of exhibits, plenty of enclosures, and I'll do my best to make them as good as possible so that they're things that you actually want to have in your own zoos as well. Thank you ever so much for joining me for this video. It's been fun doing it a little bit differently, and having a bit of a chat through things and why I've done things the way that I've done them, and being able to show you them at the same time. That's always nice. So thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back to see our next episode, episode 4. In the meantime, please do like and subscribe on the video. That does help us, as I've said before, and as I'm sure you've heard from lots and lots of other people. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.